Chapter 6. Oh, this is happening for sure. Earlier in the project, I attempted to cut the hole with my oscillating saw, partly because I was too impatient to wait until I got a hole saw, and partly because I wanted to know how the cut would affect the framing. That's why the hole is outlined on the wood. It was tough work that went nowhere, and the hole saw was almost as bad. Normally, I research hardware items ahead of time, making sure they're in stock and noting their locations in the store. But I also love to randomly wander through because my dog loves to sniff the mulch, and there's always something I need to buy, like salt for the well or gas for the mower. During one of these moments, I impulse purchased a 6-inch spider hole saw along with the 1/2-inch spider pilot bit and hex 10 arbor that is meant to accompany that hole saw. I knew the ducting requires a hole saw that is a 1/4 inch bigger in diameter, but it was out of stock and I was too impatient to wait for the restock. I didn't even consider whether this assembly would fit any of my drills. I figured I would cut the extra 1/4 inch from the wall using my jigsaw and hoped everything would just somehow work out. Yielding to optimism, I arrived home only to discover that my largest drill, which appeared to have a 1/2 inch maximum chuck size, was too small for the pilot bit. I was so confused that I dug out the manual and learned that the chuck is 3/8 inch or 10 millimeters. Cursed metric system. I have 3 power drills, not including the mini Ryobi. I've had the first one for so long that I don't even remember buying it. It's a standard corded drill that was part of a starter toolkit that's the kind of purchase you make when you leave your parents' house for the first time and need to hang shelves that will just fall off the wall later because you don't know what you're doing, because internet hasn't been invented yet to tell you how to do things. The chuck is adjustable and comes with a key. The second drill is a corded impact drill that I bought for a specific project that required it, likely drilling through concrete or some such nonsense. I don't remember that either, and was probably too traumatized by my own ambition to want to remember. It was this, wasn't it? The chuck is also adjustable, but keyless. It's righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. The third drill is battery-powered, and I bought it either to use when electricity isn't available or for the quick-change chuck. I don't remember. My goal is to not buy another power drill simply to accommodate a large hole saw that requires a 1/2 inch chuck. But what I hate more than buying new tools is accepting or paying for help. I had to jerry-rig this a bit. I decided to do the right thing and go back when the 6 1/4 inch hole saw was available, especially since my progress wasn't exactly impeded by tools. I also wanted to make sure the pilot bit and arbor would fit both the hole saw and one of my drills. According to my hardware store's website, only Spyder makes the 6 1/4 inch hole saw, and when I searched for pilot bits that are compatible with it, there weren't any that would work with a chuck size smaller than a 1/2 inch. I assume that width allows the needed length for the pilot bit to extend beyond the serrated edge of the hole saw with the right strength to drill the large hole. This is important, but I had to learn the hard way. When I searched for arbors by the chuck sizes of my drills, only the Linux pilot bit and arbor would fit a 3/8 inch chuck and the Spyder hole saw, though it was meant for a hole saw no larger than 6 inches. I bought those items and hoped for the best without any confidence as to whether or not they would work together. I wouldn't be able to use my 1/4 inch quick change chuck drill, so I intended to use my smaller, adjustable chuck corded drill. This task was really frustrating without the right combination of hardware, and cutting took a really long time. The video doesn't show the full amount of time I spent cutting the hole, as there was a lot of kickback. I thought my initial failure to make progress was because this drill didn't give me the right amount of cutting power, but even though I was lucky enough to fit the pilot bit in my 3/8 inch impact drill, the struggle continued. I was really wondering if I would make any progress at all. The pilot bit was too short to grip the wood, and the saw kept bouncing off the wall. I feared I'd end up cutting a Venn diagram instead of a single hole. In order to give the pilot bit the right length to anchor into the wood, I added a small scrap of plywood onto the center of the hole. That made all the difference so that I no longer got knocked back every time the drill made contact. At that point, I just had to be careful not to make the wood smoke too much. Success! On the other side of this wall is a shed with a roof right below where the exhaust vent will go. I determined a few years ago, when I originally decided to do this project, that this was a good spot. Then I did nothing about it. Climbing onto the roof was a precarious situation, as I could have easily fallen and seriously injured myself. I was extremely careful but nervous. If I kicked the ladder down, I would need to climb onto the house to take a different route down. But if I felt myself falling, I needed to make sure to grab onto the gutters, as that would have been the safest way to slow my fall. I later chained the ladder to an old chimney, which is what I braced my foot against. That way I didn't have to worry about kicking the ladder down, and if I fell against it, it would catch me. Dying a slow, agonizing death in the backyard was simply not on my schedule that day. I also forgot about the importance of wearing gloves while crawling on shingles, and had some really fun splinters to remove later. Installing the exhaust vent was the worst, as it was difficult to get the screws in over the siding, especially while I awkwardly balanced on the roof a few feet away. I didn't know if I should cut the siding in a rectangular shape to allow the vent to sit flat against the wood, or if attaching it to the siding would provide a better moisture barrier. I did the latter and put silicone all around the edges and over the screws. I really hope I did this well enough to prevent a leak. It certainly looks awful.